So I guess hello, and this is my second ever live, but the first time I think I know what I'm actually kind of doing. So hi. Sorry if the lighting is kind of crap because it is actually really yucky here today, nice and rainy. So welcome to my second ever live event on Instagram. And so I just posted a little reel about stitching this junk journal that I have made. It is a Amazon bubble envelope that I stitched a bunch of old fabric and random bits to, and it was so fun. I just enjoyed that so incredibly much. But the reason I made it this way was because I did this one, which you can see I did not actually stitch anything to it. I just liked the bubble part of it. I thought it was really cool. I could actually probably go back and add some paint to it, but I did add the flap, and I attempted to add a sort of ribbon so that it could be closed. So I know I had said I would do a flip through on Thursday video, but I'm just going to do a little video. Don't worry, Melody, this isn't going to be a very long video. So hi, anybody who's here. So literally, this is a Amazon bubble envelope, and I have like a ton of these that I've saved because I wanted to make more journals, and this one is the second one I've made in 2 years. So because I finally stitched it together. I've had it ready to go, but finally stitched it together. My stitching is not great, whatever, right? So here it is. What I do with this journal is this is my, what they call like a mop it up journal. So it is just literally pick and throw paint at it. If I have extra paint somewhere, I will just, usually I like to use my 5x7 or 3x4, 3x6, I don't know what size it is, my little gel plates as like a paint palette. I know a lot of people use like real paint palettes or other something else, but the cool thing about the gel plate is once you've got the paint on there, you can use it and then flip it over and kind of use it like a stamp. And so, but this is just, this paper I think is, I don't even think it's watercolor paper. I don't really remember what I used, probably something from a pad of paper. And then sometimes I'll just sit and randomly collage, stick some papers in. So it's a use it up journal that someday I will come back and add more layers. Here you can see I just kind of used it to throw all the paint that I had from a paint onto here, and maybe to practice with a stencil, see what that would look like. I've heard that it's a good yeah, you know what, Melody? I do that all the time. I go through, my husband saves all the flyers. You know, like you have these, those kind of heavier weight, I'm trying to find one, kind of flyers that are like nice cardstock and stuff. And those work really well in these journals. And I'll show you a little bit about how I did that in just a second. Hopefully not going to take too long to do this. But so I can kind of flip through. This one I think is mostly, well, I think I mix matched some different things, but I was trying to learn how to do a book. This is probably one of the first books I ever did. But the fun part about junk, about your mail, is that, here, let me see if I can find an example. Mail flyers are made to have these really cool fold outs, right? So they're kind of, this one is like a 3-part fold out, but if you stitch it here, then you get this flip out, and it's really fun, and it's easy to just stitch it in there. And that's what I did. This one I think is an envelope. This is an ad. It creates kind of a neat background with the stuff. I think I was learning about putting gesso. You do kind of need to put gesso on things. You have to be careful though, because you'll just end up with boxes full of this stuff, especially during election season that we had, like a couple of re-elections in my local area. And so they were sending tons of these heavier paper cardstock kind of flyers, and just getting, every day we get like 5 or 6 of them. And so I saved them, but man, I have a whole bunch, and I need to like not let myself save all of them. Sometimes I'll save stuff from when I used to go to trade shows or quilt festival or quilt con or anything like that. They would give you kind of like the little handouts that have to do with, media stuff that you would get when you go to a booth. And I would save that because I will put that in here too. This is actually packaging from a Happy Planner thing. So, and then I used some tape here because I think the corner was a little bit weak. After you throw a lot of wet media at it, you kind of have to be concerned about it being a little bit too soft. So sometimes the pages stick together. I've learned that if you take a plain wax candle, this is like $1 somewhere, votive, and you rub it over your pages, it puts a nice little layer of wax. Especially helps if you have a lot of acrylic. Paint can be very sticky. So this is not very exciting to look at, but here's one where I was practicing for Dina Wakley class. I was practicing kind of doing a focal point and trying to be more aware of the composition. Here's some texture paste. This was for Wonderlust class where we were talking about layers and ephemera layers. Okay, so this is fun. This is from a magazine. This is Dina Wakley. I love her collage papers because then I don't have to know how to draw. I can just collage it down and then I look like I knew what I was doing when I put it down. It looks like I drew that, but I did not. I have those in my store too. So head over to the store and use the code AnnaSentMe10 for a 10% discount. So if you want to, but this is just black gesso. Here's another one of those little fold outs. I love the fold outs. Most of the pages in this book are covered. This is like, I got a book of it's a Houston map thing. Where I live in Houston, so it's like this whole book of maps. It's called the Key Map, and it has something to do with, they divided the whole city up into regions, and then they created maps, and all the pages are just like that. They're just, I got it at the library. Here's my practice page for yellow, not practice, but one of my yellow pages. More paint pages, trying to figure out how to do focal points with collage. Sometimes I'll just sit at the couch and grab my glue stick and just some paper and just randomly stick bits of paper down. This looks like a gel plate clean off. This is one that I apparently didn't wait for it to dry before I put it together, so it got stuck. More collage pages. See, just lots of collage. This is an envelope, so that'll be fun. You can put things in there. Here's one of those things I was talking about from a trade show or from Quilt Market where it's just like a thread guide. So this whole booklet, this is a whole booklet by itself. Just different things about different colors and their thread. Probably would have been a useful reference. I think this was a Victoria's Secret ad, but it flips out. Ooh, it has lots of flip outs. It goes all the way across. So, yep. And go. See, I'm not afraid to cover it up. I know it's a good reference, but I have another one of these somewhere, and I don't really need the reference for it, actually. It's the other half of that envelope. And I mean, to learn how to stitch this in, I'm sure I followed some tutorial from YouTube. One of the ones I like is Nick the Bookmaker, I think. And so, I mean, that's pretty much that junk journal. It's literally junk from the mail. And like I said, my husband asks me every week when he goes through the mail, he's like, do you want me to save this for you? Do you want me to save this? And I'm like, at this point, I'm like, no, I have plenty of stuff. So he's like, are you sure? It's really cool. And I'm just like, no, because he just teases me like that. But this one is the one that I just finished to start for my next one, right? And so it's got a lot more, I was a little more focused in this one. And what I did was, if you have these cards like this that are just loose, you can create a little, I'm trying to hide my address. You can create this little hinge, and this is also something I got from a YouTube video, but I stitched mine, she glued hers. So you just basically, this is cut from another piece because these are small. I cut them to fit in my book. So when I cut the page off, I took it and I bent it, folded it, and you fold it and you stitch one on one side or glue, and then you can stitch or glue one on the other side, and then you have a little page that you can put in your book. Booksmith. Nick the Booksmith, is that what it is? Thank you. So some of this, most of this is white paper right now, but this is actually from a book I had of like a creative book, and it has a whole bunch of pages like this. I just ripped all the pages out, so. Tuesday morning ad, yep, all ads, all stuff I just decided I was going to make it into a junk journal. So this one is all ready for whatever paint I'm going to throw at it, whatever projects I'm going to do. I like being able to just grab a book and throw paint on it, because then I know that I'm not going to be that worried about it being a white page anymore. I don't have to sit there and go, oh, it's going to go on this page. I just grab the paper when I'm working in another book, and I just throw paint on it. Almost literally throw paint on it. So when I stitch these, I actually left some space because I have a feeling that they're going to bulge or bloom as they do when you add media to it. So I'm hoping it will. I like chunky books. There's a wine paper. This one's kind of thinner, so probably add some collage to that. So see, there you go. They're all just junk, literally. And this is watercolor paper. No, this one is. Some of this is watercolor paper. Actually, I started making this book so long ago, I don't really remember what paper it is. But this is fun. It has a little window because it had a card. And I like to take these cards. They're great for scraping, and I have a whole stack of those. These cards that come in the mail that are just kind of, and I use them all the time for scraping glue or paint or whatever, you know. So I have a whole bunch of them. And I'm not worried about them because they're not nice, fancy materials. Although I have nice, fancy materials in the store if you want to buy some. Use the code Anna sent me 10 to save 10%. Yep, so there you go. There's wine. Little wine fold out. Like I said, I really like these guys that have the fold outs. It doesn't bother me that it's upside down because it's going to all be covered in paint. And maybe you have a Simon Says stamp ad. Mine, I don't mind covering that up. That's really, really old. I haven't gotten anything from them in a long time. This is from the zoo. Has some kind of pretty pictures on it. So there you go. Those are flip throughs of both of my junk journals for now that I've made. And they're fun to make, especially these because they have the stitching. I really like that part. I left the threads hanging out. That makes it more fun in my opinion. Also leaving the threads on the cover, and this cover is very texture oriented. So I haven't put a tie on it, but I'll put a tie at some point. So I hope you liked my video, and thank you very much. I'm going to say bye now. So bye everybody.